Hi there, welcome to Switch Mania. I am Clarence and today we'll talk about the best Nintendo Switch games on sale. We will be covering the UK, EU, US, Australia, and Canada eShop. But first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you want to see more of this series, please leave a like. Remember to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to receive future notifications. Likes and subscriptions help keep the channel alive. Just a quick reminder, 90% of you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel. If you are enjoying the videos and not subscribed yet, why not? You're coming back anyways. With all that said, let's get back to the video. First on our list is Fast RMX. Fast RMX is a high-speed racing game with well-balanced cars and a diverse set of tracks. It's great for beating your own score or competing against others, and it looks fantastic while doing so, though it could have used a few more options here and there. But that doesn't change the fact that Fast RMX is a racing game I'm happy to recommend to anyone who wants one. That's how good it is. RMX has a lot of things that make me happy. It takes everything that was good about Neo and improves on it. It also introduces new features and changes that make it more enjoyable to play at home or on the go. RMX has a level of thought and polish that you don't usually see until a console has been out for a long time. This game deserves nothing but praise. It's a lovely homage to old sci-fi racers while maintaining its own distinct style. I'm looking forward to seeing what Shin-En does next on Switch. Next is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is a great party game if everyone enjoys a little bit of stress from time to time. The puzzles are challenging but enjoyable, and there are so many ways to set off each bomb that you won't get tired of them for a long time. The game's setup is also excellent, making the Switch's setup one of the best ways to play the game. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is a fun party game if you have a group of people who aren't afraid to share a lot of information. There aren't many good Switch party games, so it's nice to have another one that gets everyone involved and turns into a crazy race against the clock. Next up, the Red Strings Club. The Red Strings Club is now available on the Nintendo Switch, and it's every bit as good as it was on PC. An adventure with clear goals and characters that are interesting and memorable enough to make the player think deeply about what is right and wrong. The Red Strings Club is an important journey for adults that can teach us about right and wrong. It's a game with lessons to be learned and stories to be told, just as our own lives are full of crucial decisions. The Red Strings Club is notable for its good story, narrative, charismatic characters, wonderful atmosphere, and simple but effective gameplay based on dialogues and mini-games. A title that makes us want to think about it and play it over and over again in order to discover all of its stories. Next is the Jackbox Party Pack 3. The Jackbox Party Pack 3 for Nintendo Switch is an excellent way to get a party started right away. It has a clever web-based hosting system that allows anyone with a smart device to participate, and it has a wide range of entertaining games. This pack has something for everyone, and there's enough in it to keep you coming back for more. Overall, the Jackbox Party Pack 3 is a nice little collection of party games that can be played with 2 or more friends who have their own web browser. It's never been easier to play with friends thanks to the Switch's portability. Some of the games are better than others, and the control scheme is different, but the Jackbox Party Pack 3 is a great addition to your Switch library if you enjoy party games. Next up, Night in the Woods. Night in the Woods is a one-of-a-kind game that every Switch owner should play. It's unique, but it ranks among the best games on the platform so far. Some of the best and most natural dialogue I've ever seen in a game. Leaving Possum Springs was one of the most difficult decisions I'd had to make in all the years I'd been playing games. May Borowski and the other young adults have left an indelible impression on me, and I can't wait to see them again. Don't pass up one of the greatest stories ever told. Night in the Woods transports us to a world of turbulent pasts, uncertain futures, and a young girl lost in the present. It's difficult to find another game that is both so close and so personal, playing and experimenting with the medium's story limits. Because of its art style, music, characters, and story, it is a must-have for the Nintendo Switch. Next is Wilmot's Warehouse. It's a lovely game that turns organization into a game in such a way that some people, including myself, regard it as more pleasant than crazy. The order required to succeed with Wilmot can quickly devolve into chaos, which prevents me from wholeheartedly recommending it to everyone. Wilmot's Warehouse is a unique puzzle game for your Switch if you enjoy putting things in order and creating your own patterns. Wilmot's Warehouse is a game about categorizing and sorting objects. It will put your spatial awareness and pattern recognition skills to the test, while also making you feel smart. Finally, Wilmot's Warehouse is a fantastic little puzzle game that provides a unique sense of satisfaction from completing a tedious task. Check it out if you want to kill some time or give yourself hope that one day you too will get rid of the growing piles of stuff in your living space. Next is LA-MULANA 2. LA-MULANA 2 is one of the best Metroidvania games ever created. It has a rich history and a complex world that is all interconnected. With tricky traps and puzzles, as well as a steady stream of upgrades and items, the game will keep you entertained for dozens of hours. It even has a sense of humor that can make even the most tired and jaded gamer stop and laugh for a second. It's a confidently crafted 2D adventure with a clear and focused vision and mature feelings. Overall, the art and music are among the best in the genre, and Takumi Naramura demonstrates himself to be a true master of his craft. Next up, Star Wars Pinball. Zen Studios is known for producing high-quality games, and Star Wars Pinball is no exception. By combining the best parts of almost every pinball game, they have created a package that is by far the best of its kind. Even if you dislike the Star Wars franchise, this pinball game is a must-have for the Nintendo Switch because it is simple to play but still entertaining, has a lot of content and modes, and is simple to pick up and play. Star Wars Pinball raises the bar for pinball games and provides players with an experience that every Star Wars fan will enjoy. Star Wars Pinball is yet another fantastic Nintendo Switch game. It has a ton of content, excellent production values, and gameplay that feels exactly like playing on a real pinball machine. Next is There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension. Every now and then, a game comes along that completely defies your expectations. There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension is one of these games. It has a great look, great voice acting, and a surprisingly moving story. It's a charming and one-of-a-kind experience that you can't deny. There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension is, in a strange way, a bright spot in an otherwise bleak year. Draw Me a Pixel created a game that is both amusing and heartfelt. The game is similar to an onion, and you must peel away each layer to progress to the next. Despite the fact that I've been vague about the game's plot, I recommend it to anyone who enjoys point-and-click adventures or silly adventures and wants to play something enjoyable. Next up, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. Wings of Ruin is a fantastic game that you should play. When the first Stories game was released, I didn't pay much attention to it. I was aware of it, but I never had the opportunity to play it. This game almost screamed at me to play it, and I obliged. Despite what it may appear to be at first glance, this game isn't just for Monster Hunter fans. It's a fantastic role-playing game with engaging gameplay, a high level of polish, and an overall enjoyable experience. Anyone with a Switch or a Steam account should have this game. Even if Monster Hunter isn't usually your thing, this game has a good chance of capturing and holding your attention. Next up, Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter has gotten better and better over the years, and Monster Hunter World was the best game in the series so far. Monster Hunter Rise, on the other hand, is even more ambitious. A renewed emphasis on vertical level design and mobility elevates everything that makes Monster Hunter work to new heights, no pun intended, and the Japanese inspiration gives this latest game a very different, very impressive new style while remaining true to the series' roots. Rise is the best Monster Hunter game ever made. This is how the Monster Hunter series should have started. The annoying parts that were kept for tradition's sake have finally been removed, leaving a polished, fun experience for newcomers that will also please longtime fans. Monster Hunter Rise represents Monster Hunter at its pinnacle. Next up, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, despite appearing to be a simple port, is the most in-depth look at Monster Hunter to date. If you can get past the fact that it appears to have been designed for the 3DS, you're in for a seemingly endless experience that you could spend your entire life on, and it's worth it. Whether you've never played a Monster Hunter game before, started with Monster Hunter World, or simply enjoyed the other 3DS games, you'll be hooked on MHGU. Don't be afraid to ask for assistance. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate has some of the best handheld game movement and feel right now. Its transition from the 3DS to the Switch is nothing short of spectacular. Next is Flipping Death. In every way, the game is a shining star. The plot and creation of the characters, as well as the voice actors, music, and artwork. If I had to compare it to something, I'd say it's about the same as a Tim Schafer game. This can only be a good thing. Flipping Death is a fun story with mostly straightforward gameplay, but it may be a little too short. A few more chapters wouldn't hurt, but the challenges in each one make the game playable multiple times. Flipping Death is a truly unique game. It's a game with stunning graphics, fantastic voice acting, and a unique gameplay mechanic that will make you laugh out loud. If only it had lasted a little longer. Next up, Sumire. Sumire is unlike anything else on the market. This is because grief is so personal, despite the fact that it affects everyone. It's heartbreaking in the way that only the loss of a loved one can be, but it's also a bittersweet story of hope, of keeping loved ones' memories alive through our actions, of living each day to the fullest, and of appreciating all of the small moments we're given. It's beautiful. Sumire's soft colors show how strong her emotional connection to her story is when you first see her on the title screen. The lessons she learned from her adventure are profound and will resonate with anyone who has been affected by loss in any way. They will also help people understand how distinct the effects of death are. There are numerous options to choose from, and there are enough challenges to make you want to use the one more day option when the game is over. This is a must-have Nintendo Switch title. Next is Dungeons of Dreadrock. Dungeons of Dreadrock is an excellent game because it knows exactly what kind of experience it wants to provide and delivers on it admirably. There are 100 puzzle levels, each with its own mechanics and solutions that become more difficult as your character progresses deeper into the mountain. The game also has a charming story and excellent 32-bit animation. There is some action, but it is mostly a matter of timing that aids your mind in figuring out how to solve the puzzles. It's difficult to stop playing, but each level provides plenty of opportunities, so you can play as many levels as you want in a row and then easily pick up where you left off. The only drawback is that once you've completed all 100 levels, your time is up, but it was well spent. Next is Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. If, like me, you grew up playing these games at home or in arcades and want a little nostalgia to go with your modern fighter, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection is a must-have. The majority of the games in this collection are still playable today, and Capcom and Digital Eclipse did an excellent job putting this port together. The Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection is more than just a collection of games, it is also a celebration of Street Fighter's 30th anniversary. This could be one of the best game collections ever created. It includes 12 games, including some of the series' most well-known, as well as a fun local multiplayer mode and a well-designed online multiplayer mode. Next is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is still a classic, despite the fact that it is old and adds nothing new to the ports that came before it. From the terrifying beginning to the final escape, it's a ride that most AAA single-player campaigns only wish they could be. Don't wait any longer if you haven't played Resident Evil 4 in the last 2 years. RE4's dark, unsettling setting, gun progression, and amazing action horror gameplay keep me interested. It forever altered the action-adventure genre, and for the most part, it has stood the test of time. This game is a video game industry legend due to its great story, level and character design, art direction, and some of the best shooting mechanics ever created. Resident Evil 4 HD should be in the library of every Switch owner. Next up, The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles demonstrates not only why the series as a whole is so popular, but it also demonstrates that video games can be much more than just a way to kill time. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is a game that combines elements of a game and an interactive film. It leads players through case after case, each one filled with interesting characters, stories, and clever brain teasers. Even if not everyone enjoys adventure games or visual novels, this is the game to play if you want to give them a try for the first time or revisit them. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is a lot of fun to play. All of this culminates in a finale that neatly ties everything together and, even in comparison to what came before, simply blows your mind with how daring the people and things you're up against are. So, I have no reason to say that The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is not the best game in the series. Next up, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Because it's been a while since the first Phoenix Wright games were released, this is a fantastic opportunity to relive the excitement of each case. Furthermore, the new presentation of the games is done so well that it feels like a completely new set of games. Everyone who enjoys good stories should play the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. Fans who have already played it can return to it and play it again. Overall, the Switch port is nearly everything I was looking for in a new port. Almost the entire game runs and looks fantastic, and it makes excellent use of the Switch's hardware. Capcom should have included some extras, such as trailers or galleries, like they did with the Mega Man ports. You should get these games for Switch if you've never played them before. Next is Beacon Pines. Beacon Pines is unquestionably among the top 10 games I've played. It's also one of the first games I'd recommend to anyone looking for a quick but deep experience. Beacon Pines is a unique blend of sweet and terrifying. It has a lovely art style, a cozy setting, excellent character development, and a story that will keep you guessing until the end. I couldn't stop myself from finishing it all in one sitting. If you want something cute and dark, with a clever mechanic and a rich world, Beacon Pines invites you to solve its many mysteries and discover the true ending to this troubled story. Next up, Florence. Florence is a must-play if you want a story about the joys and challenges of love, as well as everything that goes with it, that will make you feel deeply and connect with the characters. Because of how simple it is to play, how beautiful the art is, and how powerful the music is, anyone can pick it up and feel like they're a part of Florence and Krish's story. It's a happy story with some sad parts, but it ends with a wonderful message of hope for the future. With a playtime of 45 minutes to an hour, this is a great game to show your family to demonstrate how games can be used to creatively tell a story about becoming an adult. Next up, Genesis Noir. Genesis Noir is a genre of fiction that gradually progresses from a hard-boiled detective mystery to a cosmic look at what could and might happen. It demonstrates a method of telling a story that can only be accomplished through an interactive medium. It immerses the player in rhapsodic visual landscapes and expects them to discover tactile meanings among its oddities. In Genesis Noir, chaos is not something to be controlled, it is something to be experienced and enjoyed. The game is full of new ideas, and its fast-paced transitions from the cosmic to the mundane make it an amazing, memorable, and one-of-a-kind work. The game's goal is not to create a pixel-perfect image of the world, but to depict something deeper and more real. Next is If Found. I'd like to read all interactive stories if they're like this one. If Found begins slowly, but the story of Casio's personal journey, as well as the beautiful art by Liad Young, quickly pick up the pace and draw you in. It's a story that everyone, especially younger gamers, should play. Despite some sad moments, If Found is primarily about a warm and personal story. Even when there is pain and fear, being with people who love you for who you are, especially over a cup of tea, is a place to feel at home. It may have been difficult to get there, but If Found demonstrates that being true to yourself and finding people who will help you along the way will put you on the right track. Next up, The Legend of Tianding. The Legend of Tianding is a gorgeous beat-em-up that doesn't get nearly enough attention. From the way it tells its story to how you play it, it looks and feels like a comic book. The action moves quickly, the level designs are well thought out, and the boss fights are challenging but entertaining. If you enjoy kung fu films, The Legend of Tianding should be in your collection. The Legend of Tianding is an action-packed kung fu story with excellent writing and even better art. The comic book about Taipei in the 1900s is lovely and entertaining to read. Its use was effective, adding layers of humor, danger, and depth to all of the characters in this heroic story. Tianding is a fantastic independent hidden gem, and I hope he becomes as well-known as Liao Tianding. Next up, The Darkside Detective. It bills itself as a micro-adventure, which appears to be a fancy way of saying that the puzzles don't consist of a dozen random steps, but rather follow a fairly simple, linear logic. If that's what you mean by micro-adventure, I'm all in. It's funny, just difficult enough, and the characters are entertaining. The Darkside Detective is an enjoyable take on the traditional point-and-click adventure. It has an engaging plot, amusing characters, and one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a long time. Overall, The Darkside Detective is a fantastic game that I would recommend to anyone who owns a Switch, regardless of whether they enjoy point-and-click adventures. It's broken up into simple sections, it's funny, the developers don't try to stump the player, and it's charming. Next is Lost in Play. Everyone can enjoy Lost in Play, a fantastic puzzle adventure game. It's a good story about two kids who use their imaginations to create a world in which they can have fun. The art is fantastic, and the puzzles are unique and challenging. I'd recommend it to anyone looking for something fun to do alone or with their family. Lost in Play doesn't make many mistakes in its 5 hours. It's a game that requires a lot of thinking as well as a lot of fun. This makes many of the genre's design challenges appear simple. I can only hope that it inspires and changes the way other graphic adventures are made, or that it gets a sequel. Next up, A Short Hike. A Short Hike is a game that I would enthusiastically recommend to anyone. It's ideal for new players who only want to play for a short period of time, but it also allows experienced players to play the game however they want. The game's allure is enough to entice me to return to this world again and again. It's a zen-like game that makes you feel good, and I'm thrilled that I can now return to this world whenever I want on the Switch. A Short Hike is an excellent way to spend your time. It's easily one of the best games I've played, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next is SIGNALIS. By the end, everything comes together to form something that eats away at the back of your mind like a resurfacing memory. SIGNALIS is a game that I will never forget. And I'll never forget Elster and Ariane's promise to each other about their love, no matter how selfish and cruel or beautiful and kind it was. Through endless cycles of chaos and tragedy, their love remained constant. Dim the lights and crank up the volume. Play this game on your TV late at night. SIGNALIS is a fantastic experience that will blow your mind, and the developer's passion shines through in every pixel. Next up, BUSTAFELLOWS. BUSTAFELLOWS is a crime thriller/otome romance hybrid. Both of these are fairly common, but what distinguishes this one is the high quality of the writing and the strong themes. It may be a little too long for its own good, and some of its impact is diminished due to desensitization. Despite this, there are no real lulls in the plot, and it's one of the few long games that doesn't simply throw content at players. The best crime fiction stories are exciting and dramatic, and they keep you wanting to read more. BUSTAFELLOWS adds a lot of charm, humor, and style to the mix, making it one of the most dynamic and exciting visual novels available. And last, but not the least, Songbird Symphony. I finished the game in about 5 hours, which isn't a long time, but it was just enough to tell the entire story that Songbird Symphony wanted to tell. Extra tasks are kept brief, simple, and to the point. Long, tedious errands or long trips between worlds are no longer required. The game is structured as a story from start to finish, with interesting characters to meet along the way, an intriguing mystery, funny dialogue, and Burb's heartfelt determination. A truly beautiful game created by talented newcomers who are confident in their abilities, want to do well, and aren't afraid to try new things. Although the money is in AAA fetish shooters, projects like this are where the heart, soul, and future value of games are found. That's all guys. I hope this video was helpful in deciding which game to play, and thank you for checking out the list. Please remember to subscribe and we'll see you at the next one.